Welcome to the TikTok podcast. The clock is always ticking, so let's synchronize our watches and dive in. I'm your host, Callie Brigham, and I'm here to help you make time for what matters. Hey, friends. All right, I'm going to need you to pull up a chair or pull up the whole couch. It's about to get really real up in here. It's about to go down, or all the things. It's happening in this podcast today. So I usually plan things out a couple weeks in advance. I sort of have an idea about where I want the podcast to go. And I am literally rearranging everything in my podcast schedule for this one. Somehow, kind of unplanned and unexpectedly, I hit a hot button. I mean, like an on fire button, like a surface of the sun button. And I didn't know that that was going to happen. It's kind of cool though. I will tell you, I've had a lot of ahas and I said, all right, scrap everything. We've got to talk about this today. So, taking you back briefly, in our episode 34, we talked about accountability. Super important. And then I thought, well, let's build on accountability with something practical. So in episode 36, we talked about your evening routine. All right, that makes sense. So then I thought, all right, well, what about if we join the two of evening accountability? You see where I'm going with this, right? Well, we've got our great TikTok tribe. You can certainly join our tribe, our community on Facebook. The link is in the show notes. And I thought, if we're going to have some evening accountability, like if we're going to put these things into practice that we're talking about and that you're listening about and that I'm listening about, then let's just do that in the tribe. Let's have a little fun with it. But what's something that is kind of an all skate? What's something that can relate to everybody, even though so many of us are in different seasons that may or may not be applicable to other people? So I thought, okay, the one thing we all have in common is sleep or lack thereof, but sleep. That'll be fun. I said that in quotes. That'll be fun. Let's track our sleep. It was really just because of the basic idea that we all do it. There was nothing more to it, nothing deeper. I didn't think there was going to be an aha from it. I just wanted to do a fun little giveaway and have something that anybody could track throughout the week, no matter what kind of job they have, no matter age of kids, you name it. Okay. What I did discover, and I'm still discovering, is that this is a much deeper issue. And we talk about time. That's just kind of what we're known for here. And if there is one thing that we are not making time for, we are not prioritizing, friends, it is sleep. And here's the deal. If we don't have time or make time for sleep, we are in trouble. So this is your come to Jesus episode. And I am speaking to myself. Guilty, guilty, guilty. And I really wish that I had done something like this years ago. But the deal is, my guest and I will always give you our own examples, right? From our own lives, our own situations. We'll maybe even give some advice. But at the end of the day, this isn't a one size fits all show. There are situations as you're listening that might make things unique for you. And you may not have a sleep routine that is ideal. Okay. So some of it could be a season of a new baby. So you might have a new baby that you are nursing that's getting up in the middle of the night, that is throwing everything off for you and for your household. I remember with my kids, I had this battle between me that there was things to get done, like the house a disaster, you name it, work. I had work to do, and I'm exhausted with this new baby. So my plan at the time was when the baby was taking 2 naps that I got to nap during one of the naps, and then I would do some work in the other one. That's just kind of how it worked for me at the time when they were taking 2 naps. But I digress. So you've got your new baby maybe. Or maybe you have a friend in town. Maybe somebody's visiting for the weekend. A couple weeks ago, my college bestie was here and, we're going to stay up late talking. We just are, and no regrets from that. So maybe it's something like that. Maybe you have a big project that's due tomorrow. So you're going to be just slaying that project. You're going to be staying up late to get it done. Or maybe you are in a stressful life situation. Maybe it's just a night you just can't fall asleep, like your mind is going. So I'm not really talking about those things. Those are temporary for the most part. Those are not what our habits are for the long run. What I am talking about is, I just want to set off all the alarms, all the like danger, danger, caution flags, you name it, because this is going to be about stopping the insanity of ignorance when it comes to sleep, or taking off the badge of busy, or the helpless. Like, this is just who I am. This is just how women are. This is just what it's like to be alive in this century. This cycle of exhaustion, then caffeine, then a crash, then caffeine, then overexhaustion. I mean, have you had a conversation recently with a friend that said, I am so well rested? No, like a friend that said, it's just so great getting, 8 or 9 hours of sleep a night. No, probably not. Probably the conversation is, can't keep my eyes open, or I don't remember the last time I slept well, or I don't remember the last time I got a lot of sleep, right? So there's some really crazy statistics. So the CDC says that one third, I say crazy, but it's not crazy. One third of adults in the United States report getting less than the recommended 7 hours of sleep. Now, we're not even talking about little kids. I'm a big fan of little kids getting a lot of sleep, like going to bed. The earlier my kids went to bed, the longer they slept, which I know can feel crazy and upside down, but it's the reality. I'm talking about adults, the recommendation of 7 to 9 hours of sleep. So, one third of adults, and that sleep deprivation we're going to talk about in a little bit leads to so many health issues. And the study also found, get this, that sleep deprivation can impair your function, your cognitive function, as much as alcohol intoxication, reducing your attention, your memory, your decision making abilities. All of those are really critical for effective time management, aren't they? If we're saying, okay, make a bug me list, map out what your meal plan's going to be for the week, see what you're going to eliminate from. If you don't have decision making abilities, if you don't have that cognitive function operating, of course it feels overwhelming. Of course it never ever works out, right? Because you are just plain worn out. So the reality is, if we don't make time for sleep in our schedules, I have so far done you a disservice. This should have been, in retrospect, episode 1. So I am fully talking to myself. I made myself wait a few extra days to record this because I wanted to really start to research this. I wanted to start to think about it, and I wanted to start to apply it to myself. This is a topic I've never, ever addressed, ever, not in depth whatsoever. Not only, of course, on our, almost 40 episodes, but more importantly, in my couple of decades of working with women, little to no emphasis on sleep. So, my apologies to myself and to everyone, every woman out there. We're going to have a sleep revolution. We're going to make sleep and the priority of sleep the new status symbol. Yeah. We're going to make that the new sexy. Sleep is the new sexy. All right. So, two things I want to cover today: the how and the why. First, we're going to cover the how. And one of the things that you will, again, hear me say all the time for the how is the how can I? That's actually the real question. And that was episode 30. If you want to dig a little deeper into that, episode 30 is the how can I concept. So, it's not the can I, it's the how can I. So when it comes to sleep, I know some of you are already thinking, yeah, but you don't even know. I can't even get things done now, let alone trying to add in an hour or two of sleep. It's just impossible. Not true. Not true. That is a lie we've been told. That's a lie that has been pervasive, I think, pervasive in our culture, especially when it comes to women. So here are some examples. Moms who stay up too late to relax because it's their time, because it's quiet. Anybody? Anybody out there? Now or later? Okay. Or not now or later. In the past or currently? Now or later. Moms who stay up too late to relax. You know how it is. You finally get the kids to bed, right? I've just got to sit here. I just need some time to myself. This is my time to unwind. This is my time to watch Netflix. This is my time to scroll. This is my time to do these things. Well, I was just talking with my neighbor, Mandy. She lives across the street. We work out together, and we were talking about kind of tracking things, right? And we were talking about food diaries, we were talking about time diaries, and she said she was listening to a woman that helps coach in like the fitness arena. And she was saying that you have to say things out loud. And I've talked about that before too. Like, I am getting ready to, you have to say it out loud. You can't think it in your head. But she says you say it out loud and you include who you are wanting to become or who you ideally would want to be. So, what do I mean by that? Moms who want to stay up too late and relax. I am getting ready to stay up 2 hours past my bedtime to watch Netflix, and that will make me a great mom tomorrow. Okay. Probably not, right? That's gonna make me a more short-tempered mom tomorrow. Like, in the moment, it feels good. In the moment, I wanna do it. In the moment, I think I need it. And maybe I even think I deserve it. But when I say it out loud, I'm gonna stay up an extra 2 hours so that I can, and I will be a super engaged, focused, energetic mom tomorrow. Lie. Survey says lie. Saying the thing out loud. Now, here's the deal. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to go to bed the minute the kids go to bed. But instead of binging, you're going to watch one episode. Or instead of binging or watching one episode, maybe you're going to read instead. And by the way, maybe you're going to read one chapter, not the whole book. Maybe you're gonna take a bath and listen to an audiobook. I did that the other night and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get better. This is the time I'm going to sleep. So I'm gonna back that up. And I did. I got in the bath and put in all the great little like bath salts and some little oil and got my audiobook and was just listening to it, kind of closed my eyes and was listening to that. That's how I got myself ready to bed. Talk about, let's go back to that. I'm going to get in a bath and de-stress, and I'm gonna be a better mom tomorrow. Yeah, I am. Isn't that interesting? All right. How about this scenario? Moms who stay up too late doing everything for everyone. I know I'm harping on the moms here, but moms, you with me? Moms who stay up too late doing everything for everyone. All right, the deal is let's have your family have some skin in the game. They are capable. They are capable of helping pick up the toys before they go to bed. They are capable of helping prep for lunches tomorrow. They are capable of putting their laundry away. They are capable of laying out their clothes the next day. I was just listening to a child psychologist and therapist. He came to my kids' school and he said that by the age of 2, kids have the verbal skills and the dexterity that they can do pretty much everything. So if you are doing all these things for everyone, there is no team. There is no skin in the game. There's no independence, there's no maturity. And I also mean by this, if it means that you're going to have to stay up habitually because you're always doing for everybody else, buy the cupcakes, you don't have to make them. Let your kid be the one to finish the project. You don't have to stay up till midnight with the tri-board, putting all the things on there. I know what happens, moms. Maybe they don't get an A plus. Maybe they get the B that they deserve because that's how much time they put into it. Let's not take on their problems because of their lack of time management, right? All right, let's talk about women who overcommit and have to play catch up. So we talked about moms who stay up too late to relax, moms who stay up too late doing everything for everyone, moms and women who overcommit and have to play catch up. So because I overcommitted, because I didn't budget out my schedule, now I've got to make up for it at night when I'm already tired. And what I'm already doing is setting a deficit for the next day, not honoring myself. Or maybe it's just something as simple as you and your spouse are on different timelines. Maybe you don't need to be up at the same time in the morning. Therefore, you don't necessarily have to go to bed at the same time. Maybe you're wired differently. Maybe they're just not on board with the sleep situation yet. Here's the deal. You don't have to go to sleep maybe at the same time, but maybe you go to bed at the same time. We even have friends who they read aloud to each other. I mean, like, that's pretty cool. They read aloud to each other, and that's kind of their wind down, their bedtime together. And that just gives you an example. I don't know what the reason is for you specifically that causes you to stay up too late. It's probably one of those things. This is my time to relax. I have too much to do. I've overcommitted. I've got to help everybody else be prepared. But the deal is, we're going to stop that. We're going to rearrange everything. I mean, everything. The next time you do your weekly plan sheet, I want you to plan in, like, are you kidding me right now? I want you to plan in your sleep first. I've never thought that thought. I've never in my life prioritized it like that until now. And thank God I did, because here is the why. So we talked about the how. You're just going to ask yourself, how can I? How can I? And a lot of that has to do with, what are the reasons that I'm not going to bed the time that I should? Now, let me just pause and also say, again, as I mentioned before, there are one-off seasons. There are times when medically you might need some intervention. There's times that you might want to go to a therapist or a counselor because maybe you cannot shut your brain off. There's so much going on. So we're not really talking about those situations where you physically can't go to sleep. We're talking about just not prioritizing what time lights are out. Okay, so we've talked about the how, but I want to really cap us off and finish with the why. Because you're like, yeah, that's important. Okay, let me tell you why sleep is so important. It's going to let your body and your mind recover. We need some serious recovery for what we've put it through during the day. So, are you ready? I did the research for you. You might want to write it down or maybe just absorb it. So the brain stores new information and it gets rid of, I'm going to call it toxic waste. Okay. So all the things that need to go, they're just not that important, or they're the things that maybe you're holding on to. Well, when you sleep, your brain's glymphatic, that's like your waste clearance system. That's like the garbage man. When you sleep, that system cleans out the waste from your central nervous system. Isn't that crazy? Listen to this. It removes toxic byproducts from your brain that build up during the day. This allows your brain to work well when you wake up. I mean, it's like the garbage man comes in the middle of the night, takes all the toxic waste out so that your brain can work the next day. That's why we need the sleep. So, research suggests that sleep contributes to memory function by converting short term memories into long term memories, as well as erasing and forgetting the unneeded information that might otherwise clutter you up. So, it's your organizer too. It's so cool. It's your declutterer. So, your brain needs the garbage taken out and the decluttering to happen. And it can only do that while you sleep. So it's going to affect so much of your brain: learning, memory, problem solving, creativity, decision making, focus, concentration. I mean, let's just go to sleep right now, right? Okay, the next one, I'm all about this one: weight maintenance. Okay, are you ready for some more interesting little like scientific words? Just call me the scientist. Sleep affects your weight by controlling your hunger hormones. All right, these hormones include something called ghrelin. Ghrelin? Am I saying that right? Ghrelin. Okay, somebody who is smarter than me in that. Ghrelin. Ghrelin? Ghrelin? Ghrelin. I think it's ghrelin. Ghrelin. And ghrelin increases your appetite. All right, so that's a hormone that increases your appetite. And leptin, which increases the feeling of being full after eating. Okay, so during your sleep, your ghrelin, oh my goodness, you guys, I'm sorry. I do not edit this out. Ghrelin. While you sleep, ghrelin decreases because you're using less energy than when you're awake. So your appetite decreases. Lack of sleep, however, elevates ghrelin and suppresses leptin. That's the opposite of what you want. That imbalance makes you hungrier, which increases the risk of eating more calories and gaining weight. So if you want weight maintenance, guess the most important thing to do: sleep. If you've got those extra 5 pounds, and who doesn't, let's just do a little experiment and see how many nights consecutively it takes of 7 to 9 hours of sleep that will reset your body. And not only that, this is really scary, but chronic sleep deprivation and what's chronic, Callie? Like for my whole life? No, chronic is as few as 5 consecutive nights of short sleep. Guess what? Increased risk of obesity, metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Yeah. Okay. So the first is the garbage is taken out. The second is the weight starts to drop. The third is our immune system. So when you sleep, your body makes proteins that fight infection and inflammation, and it produces antibodies, immune cells. All these things help prevent sickness by destroying harmful germs. And our immune system becomes compromised when we don't sleep. We can't fight infection. We can't fight off sickness. That's why your body requires so much sleep when you get sick. Okay. Hello. I mean, do you feel smarter now? Are you like, heck yes, I am going to prioritize this? And then the scariest one of all, so we talked about what happens inside your brain, we talked about weight, we talked about your immune system. The scariest one of all is overall shortened lifespan. And I've talked about this woman before very, very briefly, but I'm just going to bring her up again. Ariana Huffington, she is the founder of Huffington Post. And she said that for many years, she subscribed to a very flawed definition of success. She bought into the delusion that burnout is the necessary price you pay for success. Anybody feel that way? All right. Success, even personally, right? I'm going to be the best mom ever. So I'm going to be burned out. I'm going to be the best CEO. I'm going to be the best entrepreneur ever. Burnout. She had a huge wake up call in 2007. She fainted from sleep deprivation and exhaustion. She hit her head on her desk. She broke her cheekbone and she woke up in a pool of blood. She was trying to figure out, why did she faint? She thought all of the different things, blood sugar, maybe she had a disease, maybe. So she went to all these doctors like consecutively. And finally, a doctor said, I know what the problem is. You're sleep deprived. And she was like, what? That's ridiculous. He said, that's what it is. You have not gotten enough sleep. She has been on a mission ever since. She calls herself a sleep evangelist. She's written books about it. And she said that this subject is so critical because people think there's just not enough hours in the day. It's hard for me to wind down. It's hard for me to fall asleep and stay asleep. And I'm not getting enough sleep. She said people all the time come up to her and say, I can't remember the last time I wasn't tired. I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm exhausted all the time. And so she has this just continual battle with people that feel like the status comes from the burnout, and she wants to change that. The status comes from sleep. So she thought, that is a gateway to a life of well-being. And she said she's living proof of once you change your mind about sleep, you can change your habits. So keep in mind, highly successful. And she decided that even though her bedtime can vary from night to night, she is no longer going to burn the candle at both ends. She said 95% of the time, she gets more than 8 hours of sleep at night. And so instead of waking up feeling like she's got this sense, she's already behind, and she's got this sense and she's got to trudge through activities, she's got to make it through her day. She said she wakes up feeling joyful. And she is able now to also recognize red flags and to rebound better from setbacks. She's like dialed in to a channel that has less static. These are a few of her tips. We've talked about some of these when we talked about the evening routine, but in case you want to know. And she said it did not start off perfectly, just a little. Have we not talked about that repeatedly too? It just starts off with a few little tweaks. And the first is no electronics 30 minutes before bedtime. She said that blue light device that's radiating in your face is an alert stimulus that's going to frustrate your body's ability to go to sleep later. And I guess this was from a circadian rhythm researcher and neurologist. Woo, super smart. So making a point to disconnect from your devices for the sake of your sleep. So turning them off, and she's funny. She says you gently escort them out of your bedroom. The second was something I've just started doing a little bit more of, taking a hot bath, Epsom salts, calm your mind and your body. She says this is a ritual. And the bath is a centerpiece with a candle. And she says she'll even prolong the bath if she's feeling anxious or worried about something. Number 3 is she says change into pajamas, a night dress, or even a special t-shirt. Something switches in your brain when you put your pajamas on. And if you're saving like those special pajamas, what are you saving them for? I'm not a big fan of saving things because what if we save it too long and it's too late? So you slip that on and it's a signal to your body. She said she knows that some people, and I've heard some people sleep in their workout clothes so that they can be ready the next day. I'm a much bigger fan of having your workout clothes accessible and ready to go and not wearing them because that's signaling your brain that it's time to like get up and be active. Number 4 is keeping your bedroom dark, quiet, and cool. And that small drop in body temperature can also signal and prompt sleep signals to your brain. She says bedrooms between 60 and 67 degrees. That's pretty cool. Some of you love that idea. And then number 5, avoiding caffeine before 2 p.m. I will tell you that I went through some health things, I guess about 3 years ago, maybe, and I actually stopped drinking caffeine. I know I may have mentioned that one other time before. So I don't drink caffeine at all. I know it might sound like I do, but I am a big fan of now getting enough sleep, but avoiding caffeine at least after 2 p.m. because a lot of times it is like the horrible cycle of consuming it too late. Then we try to fight off that afternoon slump. Then we can't fall asleep at night. Then we're tired the next day. So we just have that sleep deprived schedule. So doing that. And then number 6, remembering what your bed is for. She says it's for sleep and you know what as well, right? So just understanding what that bedroom is designed for and treating it beautifully too. All right. So what are we going to do, friends? We've had a week together of a sleep accountability. And I would love whether you do that with a girlfriend or you just are accountable to yourself or people in your household that you keep on top of it. You stay accountable to it. You prioritize it. Play around with it. Decide, okay, what nights am I going to go to bed at what time? Back that up of how much sleep do I need? Be curious. See how you feel when you get enough sleep. I know that there are people. I have a girlfriend who she just simply does not require a lot of sleep. And God knew that she would need to be wired that way. She has a special needs child and she just has never required the sleep and that's a blessing because she's able to really be there 24/7 for her child. So, I'm also not saying it's again the same thing for everybody. You know your sweet spot and now we're going to back that up. Everything else in your life is going to come to a pause until we get this under control. So, if you need a reminder about habits and how to start working on those, you can go back to episodes 18 and 20. That'll be a good reminder. But here's the deal. Like, I am going to bang this drum, wave this flag, and it starts with me. And it feels really good to take back some of this control and say, the new status symbol in my life is sleep. No longer proud of how little I got and how exhausted. No, we're going to reframe everything and be so proud and energized by how much sleep we were able to give our bodies and the recovery that came from it. Are you with me, friends? Okay, here we go. Sweet dreams tonight, everybody, and God bless you. Thank you for joining me on the TikTok podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a 5-star review. Your feedback fuels our mission to help you master your time. Set your alarm for our next episode, and until then, make every moment count.